This is Angela Grayson from the Loving Life Fitness podcast to help others in their fitness journey. All possible.
It's time to wake up. Here we go.
Hello, everybody. This is Angela Grayson from Loving Life Fitness. Today on our podcast, we have Heather Tran. Hi, Heather. How you doing today?
Hi, Angela. I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing great. Heather, today we're going to talk about everything that you've done in your life during your fitness journey and also what you do for others to try to help them to live their best life. Let's go ahead and start with you and where you're from, your beginnings. The beginning.
Okay, the beginning. I'm from Anderson, South Carolina originally. I grew up there, went to high school there, went to college there. I started as a personal trainer when I was in college, actually, and I was working at a gym. My mentor at the time came up. He wasn't my mentor yet, and he said, "Have you ever considered personal training?" And I was in school for occupational therapy at the time. And I said, no, I've never actually considered personal training. And at that point, I was a runner. I wasn't really into working out in the gym. I didn't really feel, I was like most women, like not very comfortable with weights and really didn't know that side of it. I was only 18 years old. And he basically taught me everything about working with clients and becoming comfortable in a gym. My husband and I, 2 years later, we're 19 and 20 years old when we opened our own gym, but it was a mixed martial arts gym. And at that point, I was more comfortable with personal training. I've been doing it for a few years. I had a lot of knowledge under my belt, and he was starting training as a mixed martial artist, and he became a professional fighter. And he did that for many, many years. And we had our gym in South Carolina for a little over 10 years until we moved to Florida. And so that's kind of how it all got started with him and I. It started at a young age.
Very ambitious at a young age. How many people at 19 or 20 opened their first gym?
Well, we kind of got thrown into it. We didn't know what we were doing. It was a learning experience for sure. I'm grateful for it. I mean, there's no better way to learn than just jump into something. But it was definitely ambitious for two kids to just say, you know what, we can open our own gym. And we did it. And it was great. It was wonderful. The connections we made and the team that we built really became family. And I really value that in my life and that experience for sure.
Absolutely. Let's go back to something that you just said a moment ago about women and weightlifting. So intimidating for a woman to walk into a gym and you see all these guys, all muscle-bound guys lifting all this heavy weight. And if you've never done it before, it can be very intimidating. But having a mentor or a trainer to help you through those first few times, I wouldn't even say weeks or months, just first few times to make you feel more comfortable in the gym. How do you go about doing that with your clients as a personal trainer?
I think it all starts with building confidence. We as women, we lack a lot of confidence in areas in our life, and it is intimidating to walk into a gym and not feel confident in your knowledge, not feel confident in your plan, not feel confident in your goals. And then that in turn makes you not feel confident in why you're even there. So as a personal trainer, my job is to help you feel confident, give you a plan that you understand, you know how to exercise properly, you know how to use the tools that I'm giving you. You walk in and feel, okay, I know I'm going to this machine. I know how to adjust it. I know I have confidence in that. And also knowing why you're there. Women come to me every day and say, I want to lose weight. And I'm like, but that can't be the goal. We have to have, do we want our body to function better? Do we want our body to feel better? Those are goals. Weight loss happens also. And giving women the confidence to feel like they belong in a gym, I think is really my job as a trainer. It is teaching somebody how to work out. I don't want lifelong clients. I want to give you the skills and the tools to be able to do these things on your own without me and support you in that process.
So I find the clients that I have as a personal trainer that do stay around are those that want to be held accountable.
Yes.
Yeah, so there's the one reason why it's good to hold on to a trainer. If you're that person that has nobody to meet at the gym, your friends falling to the wayside, and so you stop going, that's a great reason to keep a personal trainer for as long as you have to. Why not? Definitely worth the money to keep you strong, to keep you going, to keep yourself healthy and able to do things on an everyday basis, let alone if you want to be involved in any kind of sport.
Absolutely. I mean, there definitely is value in working with somebody like us. Like you said, just having somebody that will show up for you. Like, I am here for you. I want to be your sounding board. I want to be the person that is waiting for you to be there, and somebody that you can work with in towards those goals. And I think so many people have such a misrepresentation when it comes to personal training. We have this thought of this guy that's going to come in there, make you do 1,000 reps and like do these. But really, most of the time for my women, especially that I train, we become friends and we really work through things together. And it's almost therapeutic. We go hand in hand with talking about what's going on with your family, get to know some of your long-term clients on a personal relationship. It is a really great process to be a part of. And it's why I love doing what I do.
Yeah, the personal relationship just kind of happens when you're spending so much time with somebody trying to help them get healthier. And the psychological part of it is a big part of it. So when you really start trusting somebody and get to know them a little bit better, it's easier to talk about anything that might be bothering you so that you can get past it and continue on your journey of fitness. Let's talk about sports nutrition. Tell us what you do.
I became certified in sports nutrition back when I was 18, when I first was certified as personal trainer. I learned to apply that through working with my husband and all of our guys. My husband fights professionally, and so he would have to cut weight. He fought at 135, but he walks around at anywhere between around 150. He was a little bit lighter a few years back, but right now it's like 150, 155. And so we would have to cut weight for that, and how to do that responsibly and so that it would not cause long-term issues was where all of my experience with that came in. And then I use a lot of what I've worked with him on. I implemented that into my professional career when I was running and racing full-time for Spartan. That's my experience with it in my own life. Now, applying it practically to clients, it depends on what they're competing in or what their goals are and how I balance that out with them.
So you tested your expertise out on you and your husband first.
Yes, exactly.
Very good. And it worked. I can tell you all, it worked. They both look great, and they're great competitors. Okay, now you mentioned your Spartan racing. Let's go into that now.
I actually first competed in Spartan for my birthday. My husband said, let's sign up and do an obstacle course race. And it was my 30th birthday. And up to that point, I had only competed in running events, running races. And I wouldn't say that I was highly competitive at those. I was always good, but wasn't planning on doing much with it, just doing it for fun. And I did my first Spartan race and I was hooked. I decided obstacle course racing is for me. I did really well at it and really enjoyed training for them. And through a few years, it took about 5 years for me to finally qualify to run as an elite for Spartan. And I did that for several years up through COVID, and then things kind of changed. But yeah, it was a really fun part of my life, and I'm really grateful that I did it. During that time, I became certified as a Spartan coach, so I can teach other people how to do obstacle course races and how to do them well. And yeah, it was just one more tool in my tool bag as far as knowledge, and I enjoyed that part of my life for sure.
So do you think that being a Spartan is more competitive than, say, for instance, running because of the type of sport it is, or just because of, oh my gosh, the people that are involved and all that you have to do? Why do you think it's more competitive?
I wouldn't say it's any more or any less competitive. I think it's just different. I think it's kind of like saying, is powerlifting more competitive than swimming? They're just different. They're different sports. The beauty of it is I was able to transition some of my running experience into Spartans, but I was also very strong for a woman, quote unquote, upper body wise. So that was also something I was able to carry into that. So I think it's just a different sport. I think it's like anything else that you compete in, you develop the skills for that sport. It's sport specific training. It's not more competitive or less competitive. It just is it is its own thing.
So you said it took you 5 years to qualify for elite. Why 5 years? What does it take to become an elite? What is an elite?
They've changed the qualifications over the past few years. When I started racing Spartan races, you could do open, competitive, and then or open age group and elite. So I started doing a couple of open races just to test the waters. So I did a few of those for the first, say, year. And I would only do probably 3 or 4 events a year. I wasn't trying to overtrain or do too much because they can be taxing, and also working full time and having kids, it wasn't my job. So 3 or 4 races a year was enough for me. And then I started racing an age group. So during that time that I was running in the age group races, I was placing first in my age group and I was doing really well and thought I should maybe try to qualify for elite. Well, they changed the qualifications somewhere in there, and I forget exactly what it was because it's changed like 3 times since then. Through COVID, they kept changing the elite qualifications. But when I did end up eventually qualifying to run as a pro, so you had to place top 10 overall women in your heat. And so I did. It was in South Carolina and it was cold and rainy. I got 9th and I was so excited. I was like, I qualified, I'm an elite. I finally, and that was like my goal. And then I did a few more elite races after that over the years and did pretty well, but then kind of took a year off. And then just, I'm still just training and working out, but I just haven't raced for Spartan since last year. Last year was my last elite race.
What are the obstacle courses like?
It depends. It depends on the distance. So Spartan has a few different options, but the primary ones are either a sprint, which are around a 5K, a super, which is about a 10K, and a beast, which is about a half marathon. Now they also have, other races, longer distances, ultras and stuff like that. They also have now started doing just a trail series, which I am a huge fan of too. And I've done that as well. And it's just a trail race. It is not the obstacles, but you are running the same course. You just don't have obstacles or a course nearby. And those are a lot of fun because I truly love trail running. I think being in the woods is probably one of the most freeing things that you can do. So why not do it for a medal, So it's medal and a t-shirt.
Competition.
Yes. So with the obstacles, each different distance, there are certain obstacles that are standard for pretty much every race. Like you're going to have to they might have a barbed wire crawl. They're probably going to have monkey bars, but then every now and then they'll throw in like a difficult obstacle. Like they have one that's, you have to go backwards like a hex, like it rolls as you do it. So it just depends on what race you're doing. And each race, they kind of design the course differently. So my job as a Spartan coach is to teach you how to effectively have the strength to do each of these obstacles, regardless of what they throw at you. So you're ready.
Sounds like being a kid. All these obstacles
It is.
they're throwing at you. Is there a favorite obstacle of yours? I know you like a good challenge that was really challenging for you that you accomplished and overcame.
I love the rope climb. Honestly, the first time I did the rope climb, or the first time I ever raced, I got to the rope climb. I thought, I'm never going to be able to do this. Why would I've never done a rope climb. Why would I ever be able to do this? And I just instantly crawled up there and did it. For 1 second, I thought, why would I ever doubt myself? I doubted myself so much. Running up to this, I saw it and I thought, I'm never going to be able to do this. And I did it. So that one was kind of big for me because I'm like, why am I questioning my athletic ability? The hardest one for me has always been the spear throw because I am athletic. I know I'm a talented athlete. I have no hand-eye coordination. So any sport that involves a ball or throwing, I have to work really, really hard at to be good at. So getting my first spear throw, I used to always miss the spear throw every event. I just knew I was going to end up doing burpees. I said, this obstacle, I'm doing 30 burpees. That I knew that was like part of the race. And then the first time I got the spear throw, I mean, I was done at that point. Like, oh, well, I got the spear. Now check, box checked. That's it for me. I don't have to do burpees.
So I was reading up on Spartan racing, and in the information that I was reading, it said that the spear throwing is the hardest thing for people to get good at and overcome.
Yeah, I had my husband build me a spear. That's how committed I was to figuring out how to throw the spear. So it has a rope on the end as well, so that the next person can pull it back, which is great. But you mess up like throwing the rope on the other side so you don't step on it, or stepping on it accidentally when you throw it. Or, I mean, it's so difficult. But once you learn how to do it, it's one of those things that it just takes practice. And once you figure out how to do it, you can get it, and you'll get it every time. It is definitely a high likelihood that you're going to miss the spear the first time you do a Spartan race, unless you just have really good aim.
So the 30 burpees, is that like every time you can accomplish part of the obstacle course?
Yes. And now I will say that is something new that they have changed relatively in the past year. Now they have a penalty lap. They're no longer doing burpees. I'm indifferent on how I feel about that. I haven't done an event with the penalty laps. I've heard some people are upset because you have people just not even attempting to do the obstacle and doing the penalty loop because they know it'll be faster. And so there's a little bit of technique involved in that. I really don't have an opinion on whether I prefer burpees or a penalty loop. But that being said, the burpees were brutal. There was one time that I had a race up in Asheville, and it was a super. And and this is before they standardized like the course distances too. So they would say a super would be 8 to 10 miles. Well, this one was absolutely 11 miles. It was so long. And I happened to fail like the last 5 obstacles and ended up doing like 150 burpees in the last mile. And then I crossed the finish line and I was dry. I was like, I'm going to throw up. I'm going to throw up. This is awful. Why would I do this to myself? And it was the toughest challenge I've ever had because I was just having to dig so deep to finish. So the burpees can be brutal for sure. But, I mean, it's part of it. Good time. It's conditioning.
Good time.
It's a good time. I enjoyed it.
What if I felt like I was going to throw up?
Yes, exactly. I got my t-shirt after. I was happy.
Family's proud of you.
Yes. Yeah.
Great. Those are struggles, but my next question was going to be struggles to get to where you are today in your fitness journey.
Losses are lessons. That's something that I tell my youngest son is a competitive surfer now, and he surfs for USA Surfing, and watching him go, I didn't compete as a young child. I did competitive things, but I wasn't a competitive athlete growing up. And I definitely wasn't a high level young competitive athlete. And so to see him have to work through the things mentally that I had to work through as an adult with an adult mindset, with an adult brain, letdowns. The best advice I give him is losses are lessons. Every time you lose, every time you come in second when you thought you were going to come in first, every time you feel disappointed in your performance, you have to take a step back and say, where can I improve the next time? And try not to work through it and then release it. Think about it, figure it out, let it go. Because you have to learn from the things that some people don't overcome that. Some people let losses jeopardize what they're going to do in the future or how they're going to perform next time. And you just can't do that. You can't carry that into the next heat, the next race. You can't do that. Know that being let down or disappointed or losing is just part of the process, and that you don't win all the time. And you're going to have injuries, and you can't let those affect your mentality. You can't let that affect your training. And you just have to come back stronger and believe in yourself that you can, because you can.
Great advice. Now, you mentioned your son, your amazing surfing son. So as a child, and how old is he now?
He's 12.
He's 12. Okay. Very young still. As a child, and I think back to when I was involved in sports at that young of an age, how to me it was always just so much fun. I didn't care if we won, if we lost. Individual, gymnastics. Yeah, you wanted to do good, but I think as we get older, It's harder to let go of disappointments, harder to get beyond your injuries, harder to just pick up and keep going. It's like we hold so much inside as adults. And if only we could act more like kids to remember that feeling, what it's like to be involved in sports and play in sports. And I see your son skateboarding with his dad quite often all over town. You guys bike riding up the bridge and go over to Flagler Beach, and it's like, as a kid, none of that stuff bothers you. As an adult, it's like, oh my God, it's so hot. What am I doing? Isn't it funny, though, how we grow up and we just change the way we think about everything? It's hard to keep that competitive spirit sometimes.
Like you said, just remembering why you started it in the first place. Life is so short. Health can be fleeting. And so just remembering to be grateful for where you are and think, I'm lucky enough to be able to go biking in this heat with my son.
Yeah.
I am lucky enough to be on the beach watching him for 10 hours surf. And I'm grateful for where I am. I'm grateful for my ability to run. Even if I'm slower than I used to be, I'm still running. Or even if I'm not as strong as I used to be, I'm still lifting. Just remembering to be grateful for where you are and not to compare yourself to even where you were 5 years ago or 10 years ago. I think we constantly look back and think, oh God, 10 years ago, I was I was lifting this much weight and now I can't do that. And it's almost like you're discouraging yourself versus saying, but I'm still doing it. I'm still actively in the gym, or I'm still working out, or I'm still able to physically do this when there's a lot of people that can't. A lot of people don't have the ability to do that. That's my advice, is just stay grateful for where you are and enjoy the process of this life that we have.
So I know that you enjoy surfing too.
Mm-hmm.
Not just your husband and your son, but you too. You're out there on the waves, and you just threw an event not too long ago for women. Tell me about the inspiration for that and how it all went.
I was out surfing last August with a friend of mine, and we were just sitting out there, and I looked around and there was like half of the lineup was women. And I remember when we first moved to Flagler, it was about 8 years ago, and I wanted to start surfing. I grew up on the lake, so I was used to wakeboarding and being on boards. And I had done some surfing, but I was by no means a surfer. And there was literally maybe a handful of women that you would see out there at any given time. Yeah, we just looked around and like, look at all these women out there. And there's a girls group in Flagler who now meet up every week and go surf. And it really has changed, like the confidence of women to paddle out, especially here in our town. So I looked at, and her name's Marley. I looked at Marley and I said, why do we not have a women's only surf contest in Flagler Beach? Look at all of these girls. Look at all of these young girls that are like 7, 8 years old that are upcoming. It's the home of Rita Zamba. We should have an all women surf contest. She was like, yeah, who's going to do it? And I was like, me, going to do it. Have I ever done anything like this before? No, but yes, I'm going to do it. And yeah, and that's how it started. And it really, it was wonderful. The outreach from the community, the involvement from sponsors and people that wanted to just be a part of it, it just blew me away. It just solidified my belief that women, we are a force and we can do anything that we put our minds to. And it was just a really great event. It was the first week of June every year, but it turned out to be a really wonderful event. We were all just cheering each other on, having a good time. We have an expression session called the My Board, My Choice division. So you can ride any board you want to ride. You can surf any style you want to surf, not longboard, shortboard, just anything you want to do. And it's just a really great day.
Are you going to continue that again every year?
Yes, that is the plan.
Good. I'd love to learn how to surf. I live in the perfect place for it.
Absolutely. I would love for the movement. It's called Her Turn Surf, the event. And I am working with somebody right now to start a 501c3 for Her Turn Foundation. All the proceeds for these events to benefit girls and women in surfing and use surf therapy for women that have been through trauma, have, youth girls surf camps to build confidence and self-esteem and community and friendship. And so giving back to women and girls in this area and help them to have that. So I can paddle out with the guys. I want to be, looked at as equal. And that's important for me, is to feel like I can do anything you can do. It's always kind of been my chip on my shoulder, is why can't I? And I want to help other women feel that way too, if they want to. If they want to do it, I want to help you build your confidence that you can get out there and do it. And I'll go out there with you and it'll be fine. We're better in numbers.
That's great. I love that. Tell me now, surfing and the body. Surfing is a challenge, can help improve balance, but go ahead and tell us more about how surfing can help improve the body physique.
Surfing's great for all parts of the body, especially building strength in your back, in your low back, because you're constantly arched up. You're laying down and in almost that Superman position where you're up. So we have really great strength in our medial glutes and our erectus spinae, our low back. It's great for shoulder. Repetitive shoulder motion is not great. So that's why we want to do things that are kind of opposite of that, but build shoulder strength. It builds strength in our chest because we're pushing up and we're doing pop-ups. So that same like core strength is required in yoga, as I'm sure you're familiar with. Balance and cardio. I'll tell you, I think I'm in good shape until I'm out there having to duck dive and paddle over a lot of waves. And I get out there and I'm like, I'm breathing heavy. And I realize that it is a very specific style of training that surfers need. Just watching some of these guys on the tour, I mean, they do everything from strength training to mobility, hip mobility. It really does keep your full body in shape. So any woman that wants to get involved in surfing, I encourage it. I would be more than happy if you reached out to point you in the direction of either a group of women you can surf with, a surf instructor that you can get with. You can come paddle out with me anytime. I will get you in the water. It would be great. And you can bring whoever you're going to bring and we'll do it together.
That's awesome. Yeah. A fun sport that's good for the body. Hey,
exactly.
What more can you ask for? Being out there in the water on a hot day.
Vitamin D,
sunshine. Yeah, salt water. It's the best. Okay, let's talk about travel. Travel to inspire all that you do.
I love to travel. My family loves to travel. We are a traveling group. Luckily, we were blessed with our oldest son's in college now, but our youngest son, we just said, listen, kid, we're going to travel. You got to, get, and he loves it. He's the best kid to travel with. We went to Thailand for 45 days last year and we just toured around Thailand. We did my husband had a fight over there. So he fought professionally in Muay Thai when we were over there. And it was just a really wonderful experience to see the culture. And so much of understanding different cultures is eating their food and seeing how they live and interact. And so being able to go see that is really important for my husband and I to show Tycho. So yep, we've been to Thailand. We go to Puerto Rico pretty often and Costa Rica. We just got back from Costa Rica recently. So
sure, there was some surfing involved there.
There's always surfing involved.
Always. Do you guys bring your boards with you on the airplane?
I don't bring my board. I ride a longboard. My board's 9'2". And so unless we are specifically going for me to surf, which they like a different type of wave than I like, I'm not bringing my board. I can rent one there. My husband and my son, they do bring their boards. Yeah.
Okay. So surfing is always involved, but I know you do a lot of hiking too.
Yeah. Yes. So, like I said, I'm originally from upstate South Carolina. And so there are some really beautiful lakes and hikes, especially as you get into the North Carolina area. So I grew up really loving the mountains and having a connection to the woods, which is probably really why I love trail running. But I love to go hike. And 2 years ago, all four of us did a portion of the Appalachian Trail together where we all hiked in and camped. And it was quite an experience. So we did a little of between 18 and 19 miles together through the course of the weekend that we were up there. And it's a fun bonding experience to take.
What state were you in?
So we started in Georgia and we did the approach trail up Springer Mountain. It was great. It was wonderful. And a few blisters, but other than that, we did great.
Awesome. No TV, no nothing, just out there in nature with each other. And yeah, beautiful. And since you were camping and hiking, you were carrying everything on your back, right?
Yeah.
Do you do any trail running with your backpack?
No, so I've never done a ruck carry race, which is what that's called. But there are quite a few, and I have talked about it. It's a percentage of your body weight is typically what you're carrying. I've never done one, but in Spartan, I do a lot of carries. So we do sandbag carries. You have like an Atlas carry. It's not really a carry for it, but there's a lot of things in Spartan where you have to do heavy carries. So I always thought that would be my next thing to try to accomplish was a ruck carry. But no, I've never done one. They look like a lot of fun.
Maybe that's in your future if you think it looks like a lot of fun.
Maybe. I've done a couple of workouts where we had to wear vests, like weighted vests, like CrossFit workouts. And those are challenging.
Yeah, especially over a period of time, I'm sure.
Exactly.
All right. You're also an RYT 200 yoga instructor.
Yes.
Do you instruct much anymore or just?
Honestly, I don't. What I do is, like I said, it's a tool for my tool belt. I really incorporate all of these. Being certified for so many years, you have to take, as you sure, I'm sure you know, you have to take continuing meds. Every year, or every 2 years, I do something that I have really had interest in and just add that tool to my tool belt. So I have quite a few different certifications under my belt. I got into yoga. I was going through a difficult time emotionally, and I started going to yoga in South Carolina. This was years and years ago. I think I became certified in 2008. Don't quote me on that. I think it's 2008. I started going to yoga because it was it was a spiritual experience. I really found my mind body connection. Before that, it was very external. I had never really healed from internal. And so yoga helped me with that. And I started, teaching yoga and trying to, but what I really realized is I love being led. It was more, like I said, a spiritual practice for me. But what I took away from that was all the knowledge to help clients create this mind body connection with their own bodies. Fitness doesn't have to be rigid. You don't have to constantly break down the body in order to be healthy. And so it helped me to have an understanding in that way. And it helped my mind to kind of put it all together doing my yoga teacher training. I have such an appreciation for it. I'm extremely grateful. I went through my teacher training and the knowledge that I gained from it, I use every day with clients. I don't teach yoga.
Seems like everybody that's drawn to yoga is drawn for one of two reasons. Either one, just hearing about how good it feels and, they need to try it for flexibility and range of motion, and they go to it for that. And then they start experiencing, just like you said, the mindfulness part of it all, and you become hooked. Others, like you were saying, and I've heard this so many times, people start going to yoga because they're going through a challenge in their life emotionally or whatever it is. And you go and it really does help you get quiet inside and try to just listen to what's going on, and you get addicted that way. And then, of course, the absolute wonderful part of the physical, the asanas, the way it makes the body feel. I want to go back to the Spartan obstacle courses. There was something that I forgot to ask you about. It's called a death race. What is a death race?
I've never done one. They are basically pushing people to the point of exhaustion, just feeling like you want to die. But yeah, it's basically an extreme race where they are pushing you mentally and physically to the point of really getting past those comfort zones. I think it's healthy for people to push themselves past the point of comfort in a lot of areas in your life, not just physically, but we get so used to just staying in this like, oh, I'm comfortable here. I don't want to try anything new. So death races are great for that. In that aspect is that it's going to push you out of your comfort zone. It's going to be hard, be challenged. You're going to have to work. Like I said, I've never done one, but yeah, if you're looking for a challenge, they're great. I encourage all people to train properly and push yourself, at least at something in your life.
If we don't push ourselves, we'll never know what it was like. We'll just stay at the same place all the time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What fun's that?
No fun.
No fun.
Need change.
Exactly.
All right, Heather, do you have any books that you'd like to recommend to our listeners that maybe you've enjoyed that have helped you in your past with health and fitness or just generally?
I really loved the China study. That one was one that I recently just finished for the second time. We were on a road trip, so my husband and the boys and I were listening to that one over again. China Study's great. 5 a.m. Club. That's a really great one as well. And the Book of Joy. Those are some of my favorites that I've read in the last year that I've recommend. Other than just like other, I read a lot of the 4 Agreement type mindfulness books, but health and fitness, I would definitely say China Study's a great one, and then the 5 a.m. Club.
Okay. So what's in the future for Heather Tran? Do you have anything on the horizon?
You know what? I'm not sure. I'm kind of just playing it by ear at this point. I feel like I'm in a season of my life where I'm enjoying training. I'm not overtraining, which I think is important. I'm enjoying the time being spent with my family. We moved down here from South Carolina and I started working at a gym and was very invested with that gym for 7 years, 6.5 years I was there, and which is great. I love the people that I met. I love my experience that I had there. But since then, I'm kind of just enjoying homeschooling, and I still train the clients that I have, and I still have my wonderful, wonderful clients that I see, and I love helping them reach their goals. And I've really started, looking into what I can do with the Her Turn Foundation and helping women in that way and possibly doing some other events. But yeah, I mean, health and fitness helping people, and this will always be my life. I don't know how to do anything else. I want people to realize how good they can feel. I want to be able to help people feel the best version of themselves that they can. So I'll always continue doing that.
That's wonderful. That's the reason why I started this podcast. Started recording quite a while ago, and now I've come this far, and it's just been a great journey. I have people getting in touch with me, and telling me that this guest or that guest said something to spark their fire or get them back on board or to read one of their books that they recommended, and just so much positive feedback. It's such a good feeling. So you definitely are making a difference with people's lives, and I know you always will in the future.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. So if I were to ask you to leave the audience with a goal so that they could live their best life, what would that be?
I think practicing gratitude, waking up each day, drinking a cup of water before coffee, going outside, getting a little bit of sunlight right first thing in the morning before you get on your phone, watching what you fuel your body with is so important. So make sure that you're eating real food and get your body moving. Walk. You don't have to run. You don't have to be an extreme athlete. You don't have to push yourself to the point of exhaustion in the gym. Just get outside, paddleboard, surf, walk, kayak, bike, anything that is just getting your body in rhythm with itself and really practicing keeping your body one. So try not to let your hormones get out, like your stress hormones, your cortisol out of whack, trying to stay in that mindful resting mindset, I think is probably the best advice that I could give anybody. Just enjoy it. Life is short. We don't have to stress about too much.
All right, listeners, you heard Heather, those wise words. Thank you, Heather, so much for being on Loving Life Fitness today. This is a great conversation. And I know that somebody out there has gotten some value from what you've had to say. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Angela. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. This is a lot of fun.
Okay, I'll see you soon.
This is Angela Grayson from the Loving Life Fitness podcast to help others in their fitness journey. All possible.
It's time to wake up. Here we go.